Now, I know y'all love some good gossip and some tea. So I'm going to give y'all some. I hear the word on the street is that the new American dream is actually to leave America. Because why do I want to stay in a place where I'm not welcome? And so I posted something on Threads yesterday, and folks was all on my comment section talking about something. We need to fight. I don't want to fight anymore. I'm exhausted. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to live in peace. I don't want to live paycheck to paycheck. I don't want to just be surviving. I want to thrive. I don't want to have to go to the emergency room or go to the doctor and then be left with a $2,500 bill wondering how I'm going to pay it. I don't want to pay a $500 electric bill no more. I don't want to pay a $350 water bill no more. No, I want to live in peace. I don't want to eat food that's manufactured in a lab. I want to eat watermelons with seeds. I don't want to eat food that's from bioengineered ingredients filled with all these pesticides and antibiotics. I don't want that. I want to live in peace. I'm tired of fighting. Are you?
You know, the conversation about Black Americans leaving the United States is getting louder, and it's not hard to understand why. Many are exhausted from fighting against systemic racism, police brutality, and economic inequality. As one brother so eloquently put it, our time is up here. I think Black people have done enough. Now, he's not alone in his sentiments. A growing number of Black Americans are considering permanent relocation, seeking refuge in countries where they can live without the constant weight of racism and a lot of other things that are currently happening in the United States. Now, this desire to leave is not just about escaping the struggles of being Black in America. It's also about seeking better opportunities, a higher quality of life, and a sense of belonging. As one sister pointed out, the new American dream is to leave America. For many, the idea of fighting for a country that has historically shunned and oppressed them is no longer appealing. Instead, they are choosing to fight for survival, and that means finding a new home where they can truly thrive. And of course, not everyone agrees that leaving is the solution. Some argue that it's a privilege to be able to leave, and that those who stay behind will be left to deal with the consequences of systemic racism. Now, others believe that Black Americans should continue to fight for their rights and for the soul of their country. But for those who are considering leaving, the question remains, what's the best way to escape the toxic environment of racism and build a better life elsewhere? So with that said, let's take a look at these videos as different people share their thoughts on this. I will be right back.
So I've been meaning to want to talk about something important with the Black community. If you are Black, please stay, because I got something to say to y'all. Now, listen, as long as our ancestors has been on this God-forsaken continent, as many Black brothers and sisters, as long as we fought for this country, listen, bro, I don't think we should stay here any longer. Now, listen, some of you may disagree, but I genuinely believe that our time is up here. I think Black people has done enough. They have been trying to sabotage us, to get rid of us, to destroy us. They have tried to do everything in their power to destroy Black people. They're still doing it in 2025, bro. I've met many Black people all across the world. There's Black people in Japan. There's Black people in Saudi Arabia, UAE, Denmark, Iceland, Canada, China, South Korea. There's Black people everywhere. Have you ever met a Black Mongolian? I met one the other day. That is tight. We are absolutely everywhere. Everywhere you could possibly think of, we are there. We don't have to just limit ourselves to America. I think it's time to branch out and be a part of new things. Spread, enhance, evolve the Black culture, the Black community. What it means to be Black. There are Black people who speak multiple languages. There are Black people who speak French. And there are some Black people who don't even speak English and only speak Mandarin. There are Black people in Japan who don't even speak any type of English. They speak Japanese. I understand for those who want to stay and fight. But at the same time, doesn't it get draining? Like, doesn't it get suffocating? Like, doesn't it feel so destructive to wake up every single morning and be like, here we go again with this country oppressing me? Like, like the bro has to get tiring after a while. I feel like we've done everything we can, bro. We have done everything we can. And for those who don't want to leave, I have to ask you, why are you so obsessed of remaining in a country that doesn't care about you? Why do you want to live in a country that has longed to get rid of black people? And I understand that not all black people can just up and leave. I understand this completely. However, for those who have the ability to do so, why not just go for it? Because honestly, I promise you, there are so many countries out there who are far more accepting and loving and respectful towards us, to our skin color, to black people, to everything about us, compared to America. This is a conversation we genuinely need to have with each other. They can have it. They want America. They can have it. I don't give it, bro. I don't. Because this is a losing battle. We are constantly fighting for, and we have been fighting for over 400 years. At some point, we just gotta wipe our hands off this and be like, man, y'all can keep that shit, bro. Y'all can have it. Because what would I do? What else could we do? Because I promise you, in another 4 years, they're going to trend, and they're going to keep trying every single year. And at some point, I'm just like, do I really want to live my entire life in this country that doesn't about me or my future kids? Or even my wife, depending on who she is? Men in general do not even stand up for women, for random women. They always get to paint themselves as a hero. It's like, well, if that happened to my wife, that happened to my daughter. It's like, would you do that? Would you stand up for a random woman that you don't even know? You can apply this to people of different minorities and ethnicities in the United States. And I guarantee you, a lot of them would say no. Whether you are right-winging or left-winging, at some point, we just got to be like, man, I do not want to raise my kids here. I don't want them to go outside and being in fear every single day because some white cop down the street is feeling trigger happy. I'm not doing it. I want my kids to be free to do what their little hearts desire and not having to worry about what they look like or the people around them. You know, I be seeing the differences in black kids and white kids. I'm taking notes. I'm keeping documents in my head. And I'm looking at these kids and like, I see the difference between the two. The black kids has to be careful how they behave, how they react, what they do, while the white kids are free to do whatever they want. And they tend to develop more because they have more freedom. They don't have that ideology that they're being oppressed in this country. Well, our kids, they can't be outgoing. They can't be so free. And that's the mental chains on us. It disrupts their development in the future. But that's not our fault. No. It's far from our fault because we're doing what we can to protect our people, to protect our family, our kids. If we want our kids to be the greatest of themselves, we cannot raise them here in the United States. I'm sorry. We can't do it. I ask you, no, I request from you, from the black community that is watching this, please consider on leaving the United States and never returning. If you are in a biracial relationship and have biracial kids, take them with you. Doesn't matter. If there are other ethnic minorities, even better. Take them with you. But our time, for black people in general, like, we're done.
And black people, y'all gonna stop commenting for me about me moving up out of this country. Because I don't know if y'all know this, but Harriet Tubman ran her black Canada, and she stayed there for a few years. Our ancestors not only fought for equality and our rights like that, they also fight so we can qualify for our passport, visa, whatever type of documentation that we need to get the hell on. So y'all can stay out here and keep fighting for the next 100 to 200 years, but I don't have that much life left in me. I'm gonna go somewhere and find a better quality of life in a different country, and I'm gonna leave. I'd just rather take the risk right now.
Let me start off by saying, anybody who's still sitting up there supporting Donald Trump and your skin look like mine, straight up. Because Trump done showed you what time it was with him time and time again. This, first of all, ain't the white person that's down with black people finna talk about giving no police an immunity, period. Knowing our history with the United States government, especially with the police. So that was one. Straight on his inauguration day, he rubbing elbows with, go up on the stage and do like this right here. Listen, man, let them tell you what they want to tell you. Allah don't care who tell it. And a fool will believe anything you tell him. You're a goddamn fool if you think Elon Musk is smart enough to build cars that drive by themselves, but don't know that this is war shit or whatever, a Nazi salute. You got to be a goddamn fool, bro. Now I'm about to make some sense to you though. Everything in this country we created. All the music, rap, rock, don't matter, jazz. All that we created, R&B, we created every form of music here. They stole all the inventions from us. We invented cell phones, roller coasters, all cars, we invented all of it. We're the only reason why this is popping. We should leave. We can leave. That shit Trick Daddy talking about. Trick Daddy was speaking and I felt him on that, but at the end of the day, man, shit, we should leave, bro. You own the home, you should sell it and get the hell, man. Leave. Because this country is going, it done went, it ain't going, it cost $30 for a pack of pork chops over here. It cost $5 for a gallon of gas. You buy a car, you gotta pay for insurance for the rest of your goddamn life. You buy a house, you gotta pay property taxes. When shit go into foreclosure and goddamn go to somebody that you don't even know. Ain't nothing never really yours here. You buy land, it ain't really yours. You buy a house, it ain't really yours. You buy a car, gotta pay car insurance. You gotta pay lights, you gotta pay water. Man, Ghana, the Ghanaian government is offering African Americans citizenship over there. When you build a house over there, bro, you own the house. That's your land. They don't build houses out of toothpicks.
So I made a video yesterday on people leaving America, and I got some responses from people being like, first of all, leaving is a privilege, and secondly, it's sad that people won't fight for their country. Yes, leaving is a privilege. That doesn't mean people aren't going to do it. If people can find a chance at getting safety, they're going to do it, regardless of what you say. Secondly, on the whole fighting for your country narrative, I need some of y'all to understand that people have been shunned by this country since birth or since they've gotten here. They don't feel the need to fight for this country. They just feel the need to fight for survival. They can survive anywhere. Not everyone has the same attachment and love for this country as you do. And that's for good reason. It's also probably partly your fault and just the country's fault that they feel that way. So when y'all are asking people to help you fight, you really need to tailor your messaging. If not for this country, then fight to survive in this country. People just don't feel inclined to fight for this country when this country hasn't fought for them. Sorry.
So y'all know with what's going on in the U.S. right now, I pity all of the African Americans who don't have a place to go, who have not thought about where can we go, who think, well, this is it, we're here. I know slavery did a big number on us, but there are a lot of African Americans who have a vision, who want to go somewhere else. And I'm gonna tell you, you should start thinking about Senegal. Everybody want to go to Ghana. You can buy land and build a house in Senegal without any special permission from the government, the U.S. government or the Senegalese government. If you got your money, you could do it. It could all be legal. And I know how to do it. And if you want to do it, you need to contact me.
I wanted to make a quick video because I'm seeing some things kind of trending in comments from people like us who are saying, why would you leave a country that our ancestors fought for? And you know what? I had that same question. So one of the things that dawned on me and that I want to remind us of, there are some of us of the 92% and the 80% that do not want to leave. And then there are some of us that would prefer to leave. Our ancestors fought for this country because they couldn't leave. We are afforded more options and more choices than they had, and that's what they fought for. So if some of us feel it in our spirit to leave, that's okay too. I don't feel our ancestors would frown upon that, because I think if they had a choice, they would have left too. Just saying.
Should I stay or should I go? You know, a lot of Black Americans are weighing life abroad after the 2024 election. Frustrated by systemic racism and a political climate steeped in chaos, more Black Americans are seeking refuge overseas. And experts share how life abroad offers peace, community, and a better quality of life despite its challenges. Now, Josephine Baker, James Baldwin, Nina Simone, Tina Turner, for generations, prominent Black American artists and thinkers have shared how leaving the US to escape domestic racism allowed them to thrive and find peace. And this isn't a new conversation, but it has taken on renewed urgency since the re-election of the current president. Now, relocation experts report a surge in inquiries from people considering a move abroad, and several celebrities have publicly declared their intentions to leave. Even before the 2024 election, a growing number of Black Americans, frustrated by the relentless onslaught of racism, police violence, and systemic mistreatment, had already sought refuge in Europe, Africa, and South America. With the current administration signaling a new era of chaos and blatantly racist policies, the number of Black Americans making plans to leave the US has hit an all-time high. But what is life like for Black Americans living abroad? Now, according to Susan Flowers, she says, "I didn't realize how stressful life in the United States was until I left." She's a Black woman in her early 50s from Chicago, now living in Lisbon, Portugal. "I didn't know how heavy it was until the weight lifted. It just fell away." Now, Flowers, a former tech executive who moved to Europe 6 years ago as a digital nomad, is one of many who report a profound sense of relief abroad. Research supports this, showing that the chronic stress Black Americans endure from racism directly impacts health. Now, Flowers recalls a work trip to Switzerland that highlighted the stark contrast. A colleague suggested a short hike during a break. I was thinking, is this a trail or someone's backyard? And then I realized, even if it was someone's backyard, no part of me was worried that they would come out with a short pew-pew because I'm Black. At most, they would come out and offer tea. She poses, choking up. It was such a revelation. I'm not worried for my life here ever. Now, Lisbon has become a popular destination for Black Americans. With its growing Black population and welcoming atmosphere, other top spots include Mexico City, Accra in Ghana, and Panama City. Social media accounts dedicated to the Black expat experience illustrate how wherever they go, Black Americans form vibrant communities, like the thriving network of Black women in Amsterdam. Now, Michael Robinson, who also lives in Lisbon, moved there in 2020 for work. Born in the UK and raised in upstate New York, he acknowledges that racism exists everywhere, but points out key differences. Racism is here, but the brand of palm-color Christian nationalism in the US is insidious. He says, "Do I feel safer here? Absolutely. But I recognize the immense privilege of being a Black American with a US passport." Now, Robinson notes that Black immigrants from African countries often face challenges like securing housing or healthcare that he, as an American, doesn't encounter. However, he advises prospective expats to prepare for cultural adjustments. Small comforts we are used to, like 24-hour convenience stores or finding someone to do your hair just right, aren't the same, but we adapt. My wish for Black Americans abroad is to invest in Black business and support our own. There is always an alternative provided by people of color. Now, for many, the benefits of living abroad extend beyond escaping prejudice. Experts frequently cite better quality of life, lower costs of living, healthier food, and an absence of pew-pew violence. Social safety nets in Europe, like universal health care and robust welfare systems, also provide a sense of security. Now, Brandy Butler, who has lived in Europe since 2011, is now in Barcelona after stints in Brussels and Amsterdam. Recently laid off, she remains unworried. "I feel far less anxious here because society cares for you," she explains. Healthcare and education are seen as rights. Married to a Spanish man, she says her experiences with racism have been minimal. "I get the occasional curious glance or outdated assumption, but nothing overtly racist. My quality of life is just too good to consider going back." Butler, like many others, has no plans to return to the US. After the 2024 election results, Europeans have experienced dictators and wars in their recent history. They've seen it up close and know it can get worse. Why would I go back to that? Unless it was for an extraordinary opportunity. I'm here for the long haul. Now, the consensus among these Black expats is clear. Living abroad has its challenges and artisanship isn't completely absent, but the benefits far outweigh the drawbacks. As Robinson puts it, to anyone considering the move, abso-Franklin-lutely, get the hell out. You know, the decision to leave America isn't born from a single moment, but from a lifetime of accumulated experiences. As a former infantry soldier who once believed wholeheartedly in the Army values of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage, a brother says, I've watched our nation repeatedly fail to live up to these ideals. A memory still echoes in my mind of a drill sergeant at Fort Benning, Georgia, singing Arthur the Sixth candices during PT runs. Just last year, while checking into a hotel in downtown Portland, an unhoused person's quick transition from asking for money to hurling racial slurs reminded me that no amount of education or professional achievement can fully shield us from America's deeply ingrained artisanship. It was a stark reminder that to some, I would always be first and foremost a Black man in America. By mid-November, a brother says, my wife and I had secured our positions in UK academic programs. Despite most universities having closed their admissions, my PhD in industrial organizational psychology and my wife's health and care professions council credentials opened doors. We opted for the student visa pathway, recognizing its flexibility in establishing our new foundation. The logistics proved complex, particularly arranging international transport for our Scottish Terrier, Roscoe. As we navigate the Sito housing market and liquidate assets, we are fortunate that current property values have provided sufficient resources to ensure our transition remains permanent. And this capacity to choose our destiny reflects undeniable privilege options my grandfather could never have imagined when he first called me peculiar. We went from zero to London in less than 2 months. The mounting opposition to diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives in American academia has been particularly telling, but equally concerning is the fundamental lack of infrastructure supporting this work. While my own department has been exceptionally supportive, the broader landscape of academic DEI reveals a troubling pattern. Unlike established academic disciplines that have clear theoretical foundations, dedicated journals, and institutional homes, DEI work often exists in a precarious space, valued in rhetoric but undernourished in practice. He continues and says, as someone who has dedicated years to advancing diversity in higher education, I've watched with growing alarm as equity work faces systemic dismantling. The combination of external political pressure and internal institutional failures creates a perfect storm when lawmakers craft policies designed to undermine civil rights protections and weaken anti-discrimination laws through initiatives like Project 2025. The writing on the wall becomes impossible to ignore, and it's time to bounce. Now, like I said earlier, this sentiment is being echoed by a lot of Black Americans, and for some, living in America as a Black person requires a peculiar kind of consciousness. Perhaps being a peculiar Black person also means having the courage to seek prosperity and peace beyond America's shores, carrying with us the wisdom of our ancestors while charting new paths forward. We are preparing for this next chapter with the understanding that sometimes the most powerful form of resistance is the refusal to remain in spaces that demand diminishment. We have finally come to the end of the video, but what do you, our viewers, have to say? Share your thoughts, your views, your contributions on what you think about this topic in the comment section. Thank you for always watching, and see you in our next video as we bring you another interesting video.